What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers have undoubtedly a incredibly deep roster, right? If not the deepest roster in the league. In my opinion, I actually believe it is. And with that comes so much versatility, so much just different lineups and sets you can throw out there. And I've talked about this on numerous occasions, right? You could try and test different things, especially early on in the season. And Darvin Ham is definitely going to have his hands full and really going to have to figure out like who gets minutes on what night, matchup by matchup. And you can make a real argument for pretty much anybody on this roster to start, come off the bench, different units, different looks, different lineups. And that is just so powerful for this Lakers season and just going into the playoffs and really making a playoff run. Like, this is a roster I firmly believe. Like, if LeBron James sat the entire season, not saying that I want him to do that by any means, but like if LeBron was like, hey, I'm just going to take the year off, just rest my body, heal up, and I'll be back for the playoffs, maybe 10 games before the playoffs, I still believe that this team is good enough to be at least a playoff team. And then even without LeBron and AD, I still think this team would be good enough to at least be fighting for a play-in spot. Like, that's how good these guys are. I mean, you have several guys that can go get you 20 plus a night, even if you remove LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And obviously, there's the idea of just sticking with the starting unit you had last year, which worked, helped lead you to the Western Conference Finals. There's talks about the Lakers going with Jackson Hayes at the 5 and then having AD at the 4. There's talks about D'Lo and Gabe Vincent potentially fighting for that starting role. I think it'll be D'Angelo Russell, but I think you got to kind of show face and at least try to say, no one's position safe. So that way there's at least competition and guys are working hard during training camp because that's what you want. That's what you want to see translate. But the reason I'm talking about the Lakers' versatility is because reports have came out that the Lakers are going to prioritize that. They want to prioritize just versatility and flexibility with this roster, try different things, try different lineups, which I am all for, especially earlier on in the season. Now, you don't want to do that 60 games in, right? After the trade deadline, when you start getting to like the back half of that season, that's when you want to kind of have like, okay, these are our starters. This is our bench unit. These are our 10 guys that we're going to run night in and night out on a nightly basis. Now, obviously, AD has the night off, LeBron has the night off, D'Lo or somebody has the night off, then yes, somebody's going to step up and come in. But for the most part, you want to have your just stability and like, okay, this is where we're at. But early on, right, the first 30 games or so, if not more, right, like the first half of the season, feel free, go ahead, try different things. Try Jackson Hayes at the 5 with Anthony Davis, see how that looks for, 3 or 4 games. Then, go and throw Rui in the starting lineup, and then Vando in the starting lineup, and then, try it with Max Christie and Reeves at the 1 and 2, right? Like, experiment. That's what the 82-game season is. Now, obviously, you need to prioritize winning above everything, but I don't think, the starters, like if you throw out a starting unit of like Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, say Cam Reddish, Anthony Davis, and Jackson Hayes, because LeBron's got the night off, and you throw that out there for 5 minutes of the game, like that's going to be the reason you win or lose, right? No, I mean, unless it's like really good. I mean, if it's really bad, then, that, but I don't see that being the case, right? And even if you lose a game here and there because you were trying and experimenting with the lineup, I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? You need to obviously not get into the 7th or 8th seed, but the Lakers are more than good enough. They're going to be a top 5 team at the worst. I don't think they're going to prioritize seeding more than health, just because I don't think they care. As long as they get into the playoffs, I think they're more than fine. We saw it this last playoff run. They're really good at home. They're going to win their home games, at least in the playoffs. And then, at that point, you just got to win one game on the road, and you're good, right? So, ideally, this is probably the starting lineup that the Lakers end up going with, which was the starting lineup last year. I think that this has the best fit. I think it gives you a little bit of everything. You got 2 guys that can shoot 40% from 3 in D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves. 2 guys that can play make. Also, both guys can play off the ball very well. LeBron James, Anthony Davis. No need to explain that. And then Jared Vanderbilt is, one of the best defensive guys in the league. and their best on-ball defender, point of attack defender. And if he has anything close to a respectable three-point shot and just offensive game period, which he's been working like a madman on that this offseason, then I think you're straight, right? You got the defensive anchor and Anthony Davis. You got your perimeter defensive anchor and Jared Vanderbilt. Austin Reeves is a good defender. He's not great, but he's good. He's good enough. LeBron James, he can lock in if he need to. And D'Angelo Russell, he at least tries, right? He's not a great defender, even necessarily a good defender, but he actually was pretty solid for the Lakers compared to his time in Minnesota and even like with the Brooklyn Nets. So at least he's out there trying to get after it and kind of just buying in on the defensive side. So more likely than not, this is what I think will be the main starting five. When all push comes to shove, I think these guys will be it. Unless Jared Vanderbilt just is as bad as he was last year offensively, which I don't think will be the case. But if Jared Vanderbilt is like, he really is a liability offensively, then I could see somebody else, maybe a Taurean Prince or a Rui Hachimura, although Rui's probably best at the 4. Maybe you move LeBron to the 3. We'll see. But I think more likely than not, it's that. But even then, like, this is more than likely your bench 5. Now, Cam Reddish and Max Christie are interchangeable, of course. And there are reports that the Lakers are kind of looking to prioritize Max Christie over Cam Reddish. But I could even see them kind of splitting, right? So, like, let's say there's, 20 minutes or whatever in the 2 guard position on a nightly basis, right? Because, say you have Reeves playing the 1 on some, occasion here and there because that's what they want to do, and then you have him starting at the 2. So like, let's say there's 20 minutes, right? I could see, one night Max Christie gets 15 minutes, Reddish gets 5 or whatever, 12 and 8, whatever, and then the next night it flips, and these two basically average like 10 minutes a night, but it's like interchangeable, right? Like I could see something like that happening, but regardless, however they go about the 2 spot, this is solid. I mean, seriously, like you can make an argument this bench 5 is as good as some of the starting 5s in the league right now, right? Like some of these bad teams, like this team could compete against and win you some games by itself. Not great, like you're not making the playoffs or winning a championship or anything like with this, but this is a starting 5 that I think like you could roll out and win, a pretty solid amount of games and might surprise people. Now, the Lakers are never going to start this unit, but as a bench unit, that's fantastic. But there is an argument for each one of these guys. Like, there's an argument for Gabe Vincent to start. He is a 3-and-D style point guard, and LeBron James has a history of being very good alongside those guys, or those guys being very good alongside LeBron James, right? Cam Reddish is a 6'8", versatile wing that can play the 2 through 4, can guard basically 1 through 4, even some 5s, like if you're playing the Warriors, right? Great, young, athletic, can really get after it, hard nose. Max Christie, again, same thing. He looked spectacular in Summer League. You have Taurean Prince, who, 38% three-point shooter, legit 3-and-D style guy. You could make an argument for him to start. Rui Hachimura is Rui Hachimura. We've seen what he's been able to do, and this guy, I believe, is the future and replacement of LeBron James. And then Jackson Hayes, they're already talking about starting. So you have that versatility. You have what you want for the Lakers. And so, again, why not experiment? Why not see what, a unit of like, say, Gabe Vincent, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince with LeBron and AD look like? No, or maybe you do give a game. Maybe you do give a game, right? Maybe you're playing, I don't know, you're playing Detroit or something like that. And you just say, all right, like let's give our starters the night off. Right? Everyone's kind of banged up a little bit. All right, you guys have the night off. Right? Let's throw these 5 guys out there and see how it looks. Right? Or maybe you LeBron and AD are out that night and maybe D'Lo too, and it's like, hey Reeves, like just come off the bench for us tonight, or just come in, you're just gonna play a handful of minutes, right? Maybe you start Reeves with this, right? So maybe you go Gabe, Reeves, Prince, Rui, and Hayes. Right, and you just give hey, we're just gonna play you like 10 minutes tonight, just so you get some rest. But we don't want to take away your starting. You get my point, right? Like that is what is great about this roster. They have a legit 10-man, 11-man rotation, counting Max Christie. They're going to pick up another center. So there's 12 guys. And that's not even counting the 2 rookies, right? So there's 14 there. And that's not even counting the two-way guys that I think could come in a pinch and play some solid minutes. Like, I really believe Hodge, if you threw out there 10, 15 minutes a game, I think could hold his own because of his ability to defend as well as shoot the 3 ball. And he's older, so he's more mature and just, I think would be ready for the moment. Colin Castleton, I think, is more than capable of being out there and holding his own for 10 minutes or so, right? Shafino, I think he could go out there and play 10 minutes or so. And same thing with Maxwell Lewis. I mean, at least not mess things up, right? At least not go out there and just basically just destroy a lead or, or if we're down 5, they're in and now it's 15. Like, I think that they could be good enough to help kind of weather a storm on any occasion. And so to have that versatility is just going to be such a luxury. It's just Darvin Ham is going to have his work cut out for him. Like, he really is. Darvin Ham's really going to have to figure it out because he not only is he going to have to figure out the rotation, he's also going to have to get everyone to buy into the team, right? He's going to have to get everyone to buy into, like, all right, like, some nights I might not play. Some nights I might play 30 minutes. Some nights I might play 10 minutes. Some nights I might be just sitting on the bench and just warming up my seat, right? And that can kind of, if you have the wrong pieces, kind of wear on guys, and now all of a sudden people are complaining and it becomes a big issue, right? Like, depth is always great. You can never have too much depth, but we've seen teams kind of implode because they have too much depth, and then people start complaining and getting upset, and they want minutes or they want touches and stuff. I mean, even the Phoenix Suns, we've seen implode, like with Ayton, right? And complains about not getting his touches or the minutes or whatever, right? You really have to get everyone to buy in. You really have to have team first, sacrifice whatever it takes, right? Like, that was what was so great about the 2020 team. Like, Rondo was like our 3rd best player in the bubble, and he like hardly played during the regular season. So that means guys had to sacrifice for that. You had nights where, Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee had DNPs. Kuzma got the night off, right? Like, everyone had to sacrifice for that team, for that roster. And so if they can buy into it the same way and everyone's on the same page and it's like, hey, we're trying to win a championship here. We're not trying to be a good team. We're not trying to, have, guys, whatever. No, we're trying to do whatever it takes to win a championship. It's going to have to get people to buy into that. And then on top of that, find minutes to, keep guys fresh, keep guys playing. Last thing you want to do is like have guys just sitting out for 5 straight games, right? Unless they absolutely have to. But, you don't want a bunch of just DNPs, coaches' decisions for guys all night. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree? Like, yeah, use your versatility. You got all these guys that can switch and, make arguments for starting units and all that stuff. Play them, test some stuff, figure it out now, and then get ready for the second half of the season to make that push and get into the playoffs. How do you feel? Love to hear it. Let me know.